Hello, beautiful people. What is your plan for career advancement? In this video, I want to introduce you to the secret conversations that you're not having. Most companies document career advancement pathways. Do you know what yours are? I also want to talk about the mistake that cost my company a future partner. A real life story about how lack of transparency actually changed my career forever. And how to take control of your career growth. 3 powerful strategies that will mean you never miss an opportunity. At the end of this video, you will understand how career advancement works inside your company. You will learn how to find the right people who will give you transparent career advice. And you'll discover how to negotiate your career moves with confidence and strategy. So I'd like to talk about why understanding career advancement and career paths is absolutely critical to your success at work. Over the years, companies have gotten better at being a little bit more transparent about this, but it's not necessarily something that most companies spend a lot of time discussing with their employees or are really completely transparent about upfront. And some of it is because they want you to be satisfied in the position that you're in and to be able to be focused on that, and they consider it a little bit of a distraction towards the job that you're currently doing. Your focus and your goal here is to not miss opportunities. And one of the most effective ways to do that is to know what they are. And understanding the way your company sees you, reviews you, plans for your growth, and gives you opportunities is absolutely essential for you to be able to take advantage of them. Quick story about me and why I learned this early on and why it's so important to me now, why it's been so important to me over my entire career, is when I was in my early 20s, I was working in England for a Fortune 500 company, fantastic company, absolutely great training, great opportunities, doing really well, and I loved what I was doing. But I also wanted to be able to have an opportunity to come and live and work in America. And I applied for a green card, which I was incredibly fortunate at the time. I got a green card. It took me about 18 months, but my application went through and I got a green card. So that gave me an opportunity to be able to come and work and live in America. So as a 26 or 27-year-old, I waltzed into my boss's office and announced that I was going to America. Now, the thing was, I didn't do any of the advice because I didn't know it that I'm trying to give you now. But what I did do was I scared the hell out of my boss, because what my boss did then was they said, no, you can't go. No, you need to stay here. We have plans for you. You can't go. And I saw that as someone telling me no, that I couldn't do what it was that I wanted to do. Now, if you're a little bit stubborn and pig-headed like I am, or at least I was, hopefully I've grown out of that, you'll begin to identify with that. Someone tells you no, you can't do something. It's the only thing that you actually want to do. So I saw that as them telling me that I couldn't go to America. I didn't see it as anything else. And I immediately believed that I need to quit and leave the company and find another opportunity. Now, the interesting thing was I'd already been offered another opportunity in the US and I was super excited about that. But I wanted to stay with my existing company because I knew there was tremendous opportunity there. The thing that my boss missed doing was they missed telling me what their plans were for me. They missed explaining to me that I was on a career path to partner. And if I had understood that, I would have stayed, I would have figured it out, I would have negotiated with them, I would have asked to go to America a year or two later. I wouldn't have walked out on an opportunity that was huge. And my boss hadn't been trained by the HR department to have those kind of conversations. So when you're looking at a career path or a career trajectory, educate yourself, but also make sure that you share that learning with your boss if they don't already know. So I ended up quitting that company and going to the US and working in super interesting technology at the time that turned out to be fantastic for me. But I look back on that and I look at how badly it was handled on both sides of the equation. And the learning in there for me is be aware that your boss does not know everything. They will not necessarily give you the transparency, not because they don't have it, but sometimes because they don't know it. So part of your job is educating yourself and sometimes educating your boss as well. So a super important lesson learned from that is transparency in career conversations is absolutely key. These conversations are difficult and you get really good at them over time if you practice them. I want to encourage you to practice them as soon as you possibly can. I'm really happy to answer questions in the comments. Let Let me know what's stopping you from having those conversations, and I'll probably do a video on it. I'll certainly answer it in the questions, but if there's anything that's stopping you from having those difficult conversations right now, let me know. Let's talk about it. Let's see if we can get you moving and get you into the way of practicing and learning how to have them and accelerate your career path. So now that you have an understanding of why it's important for you to be able to understand how career advancement inside your company works, and why it's important to understand the power of transparency both for yourself and for your boss, I'd like to talk to you about 3 strategies for you to really pay attention to when it comes to your career advancement. Step number 1, and you may have seen this one coming, is find someone who can be transparent with you about your career path. And that's not everybody, and sometimes it's not everybody because everybody doesn't understand it. Sometimes this matters to other people because they've had past experiences like mine, they've taken the time to go figure it out, or they've built the career progressions, which I have done in other companies because I was aware of the impact this had on me, and I wanted other people to have better choices, more conscious choices, broader choices than I had at the time, or I thought I had at the time. When you have these transparent conversations about your career path and your career trajectory, make sure that you understand what the criteria are, make sure you understand where value gets added at each stage, make sure you understand the evaluation cycles, and then begin to reflect on how you're positioning yourself within those. Also, learn from other people's mistakes, mine included, and make sure that you have the right conversations before you make a big career move. It's totally fine for you early on in your career to have a conversation with your boss that you feel is kind of weird and didn't really work out the way you wanted to, and to excuse yourself from it and come back and reopen the conversation. So you can be in a conversation with your boss. So imagine I was at 26 or 27 having that conversation with a very senior partner in the organization who was pretty terrifying, to be honest. And he said, no, you can't go. I could have said at that point, well, I would like to stay with the company. Do you mind if I have this conversation with you again next week? That would have been a completely fine thing for me to do. It would have been a little strange, but I was a junior person. The boss would probably have forgiven me for it. So remember that you can always take yourself out of a conversation that feels slightly wonky for you and plan to step back into it again at a later stage without allowing it to escalate to the point where you resign, which is what I did. So give yourself time, be patient with yourself, allow yourself to have multiple opportunities to have these conversations until you get super proficient at them. They're never easy, but you will get more competent with them over time. The third thing to do is to learn to be able to negotiate career changes and career transitions. Don't ever take a simple yes or no as an answer. You're looking to educate yourself on the process. You're looking to understand what your options are. You're looking to be able to refine your understanding of what it is that you can bring to the table to be able to add value. So whenever someone says a yes or a no, always remember to politely ask, why is that the case? Could you explain that to me a little bit more? Could you help me understand why it is that you're saying that? And what that also does is it weeds out the great bosses from the not so great bosses or the awful bosses, and it puts you in a position where you're beginning to refine your understanding of what it means to work for someone who will work with you, who will support you, who will enable you, who will coach you, who will help you, and who will never just say a flat out yes or no. If they say a yes or no, the other thing to do is don't just jump in, just sit there patiently and allow for the silence to have them step in and explain to you the why of the yes or the no. Give yourself time. See if you can extend the time or attenuate the time that you're having some of these conversations in, because when we're younger, we tend to do them in a serious rush. When we're older, we get a little more moderated about them. See if you can learn that lesson sooner and it'll serve you in really good stead. So a closing thought for you, your career and your career path, it's too important to be able to leave it to chance. Make sure that you're asking the right questions, that you're educating yourself on what are the questions to ask, that you're talking to the right people, and the right people are the people who will be transparent and who will give you coaching and support and help and who want you to be successful. And make sure that you get good at negotiating so that you get what you're able to negotiate, not necessarily what other people think you deserve. What'll help you with this is my promotion readiness assessment. Even if you're having a discussion about your career path, it's also important important to pay attention to the promotions along the way of your career path. If you go to www.getpromotedassessment.com, it's a free promotion readiness assessment. It'll help you take stock of where you are. It'll help you take responsibility, understanding where you can grow to, and it'll position you really well for some of these difficult conversations. I wish you the best of luck.